Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Eric Miller drinking his coffee. I won't make loud slurpy noises like a certain famous YouTuber. Anyway, good morning and happy Marchintosh. Keep forgetting things are reversed. It's over here. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. And later there will be a live stream of Steve pole dancing, I hear. Or doing the Charleston or something. Anyway, little summary of Marchintosh so far. This is my second early morning Saturday broadcast. More to continue. But you may have heard me in the past mention several things that, or at least several times, that I've been searching for a particular HyperCard stack. It was something that was created very early and presented at excuse me while I get my reference material here. It was presented by the HyperMedia Group for Novell. It was a stack that demonstrated Novell NetWare and had the first instance that I can find of someone using a font to create animation for a HyperCard stack. So it was demonstrated in, sorry, I gotta find the reference, Macworld in Boston in 1988. So I've been looking for this stack for a long time. It's mentioned, and this was the first mention I saw of it, in Danny Goodman's HyperCard 2.2 Handbook, you know, the complete HyperCard Handbook. And what was intriguing is that, you know, he talks about using fonts for animation, but he doesn't really show an example in the book. So in a section called Animating Text, he describes this technique was widely used in a publicly distributed demonstration stack for Novell Microsystems and produced by Emeryville, California-based HyperMedia Group. In this stack, a large butterfly flew across the screen, landed on words and other graphics to draw the viewer's eye to various parts of the message. The butterfly was no mere fixed image moving about the screen. The wings flapped, its body moved, just as it should in animation. So you could understand why I was intrigued. I wanted to be able to do this. And if you've seen some of my prior work, I've used icons and moved them around to do animation. That's how the Neko cat animation's done. But there's also a way to do it with fonts. In my second demo of Neko, I converted it to a font so I could have a large cat. So let's take a look at this stack. It's got more in it than I expected. It's not just the demonstration. So let me switch screens here. Okay. I would normally use my Power Macintosh G3 to do this, but it actually runs HyperCard too fast. I mean, remember this was 1988, so you didn't have G3s. So I've set up my 520C computer, which has a slower processor in it, and we'll take a look at that stack. So, any second now. And there you go, that's all the animation. But there's much more to the stack than just that. But before we get into it, let's see who's in the chat. So we have Days Vintage Apple Tech. Good morning, Dave. Jack 68K and Chris Angelus. Steve Mac 84. Welcome, Steve. Eep. And some chatter and some more talking. Bill Goetz. Good morning, Bill. Dan, actually. Trina's Technobabble. And do we have anyone else? Who am I missing? Garth Beagle, of course. Good morning, Garth. Gut Bomb has joined. Good morning, Gut Bomb. I think, oh, Mr. Big Bad Biologist has joined us from his big bad bench. Mr. Eric Helgeson of Blue Scuzzy fame, good morning. And I believe that's everybody. So let's dig a little bit into this stack. So we'll start with about the stack. I'm not going to go over all the NetWare stuff. Sorry, if you're interested in the NetWare stuff, you can download the stack. So the HyperMedia Group was comprised of 5 people. You may recognize some of their names. Eric Alderman, Jim Edlin, Key Nethery, Lauren Steinhauer, and Tay Vaughn. Tay Vaughn was integral in writing some books and magazine articles about HyperCard and also HyperMedia. Eric Alderman sounds familiar, and I can't remember. I think he worked for Apple at one time. Anyway, so there's very few articles describing this group. There happens to be one that I found that is in the, excuse me while I put my glasses on. New HyperMedia magazine, September, October of 1991. So it took me a while to find this reference. There's still a website that Tay Vaughn has. Anyway, so if you're interested, you can look that up. I also have another book by, hang on a second here. Boy. say I have all these bookshelves and none of the books are on them. So using HyperCard, From Home to Hypertalk, it's a Q book, and it is by, Mr. Tavon. So, something I found. Alright, so let's hit the More button. And there's a little description about the stack. It's locked, but you can unlock the stack so that you can mess around with it. And Eric, do you have Danny Goodman's HyperCard Developer's Guide? I do. Do I have a hard copy of it? I don't think so. Or do I? Hang on a second here. I've got a couple of books. I have the complete HyperCard Handbook 2.0, so that's the predecessor to the one I'm using. I think I have a PDF copy of that book. These weren't available as PDFs, but that one was. So in this stack, they discuss how you can click on just about any word and it'll take you to a definition of it. It's a feature of HyperCard where you can do that. You can make your own changes, so they tell you how you can get into the stack and unprotect it, and how the painting tools and the animation is done. So it's pretty cool. I'm using the wrong mouse, sorry. And then it goes on to talk about NetWare. Go back to the menu. Bonuses. Software animation tools. So they have tools in here. I haven't even really looked at this yet, but it describes how the animated butterfly works and that there's a special font that's used. And the reason to use a font over an icon, icons are set to I think 32 by 32 size, so you can't make them very big, but you can do a font, and they used a 127 point font in the stack. The other thing that's nice about it is that you can do very quick animation because the text and font tools and everything are optimized in HyperCard, so it's actually the fastest way to do animation. So, and they go on to talk about how the motion of the butterfly is controlled, etc. But there's another thing. They talk about the tool that they have in here that you can try. And it's a little animation toolkit. So you can show the field script that handles the animation and take a look at the code. So, you know, it's a well-written demonstration stack that lets you mess around with things. So what they did was this kind of a clever thing. Instead of hard coding in the animation, they have position and frame. So this letter corresponds with a particular frame in the font, and the position is where they want you to move the butterfly to. So you can edit this and mess around with it. So here's the playback. Pretty simple, but it's nice. You could build your own font, which is probably the most complicated part of the whole thing, and then use a tool like this to script the animation so that you're not having to hard code it. Oh, the NetWare for Macintosh poster. Wrapper Apple in NetWare. So I wonder if I could have a an Apple in NetWare poster sent to me still. Let's see. I want to find out all about this stuff. Request form. So you'd fill this form out and then print it. So what they did was they put this at, it was a demo that was available at that you could walk up to in a display and do this. So I suppose you could mail it to them later too. Software administration tool is a useful utility designed for network administrators. Okay. Let's see, Steve, I found the pin of that wrap your Apple and NetWare. Oh, thank you. That's kind of neat. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, cool. I'll have to grab that. Oh, 24 bucks? Nah, I'll pass. It's neat though. I did I picked up this recently, which was kind of nice. I think I've showed it off before, but show it again. It's part of the HyperCard marketing thing where they talk about the freedom to associate, because HyperCard is a hypertext tool, and you can do associations between information. Let's see what else we got here. Anyway, so that font animation tool, I kind of like the solution they came up with here. I haven't, how does this record work? I have no idea. Oh. So I made it do something. Edit. Okay. Do you like drag it? No. Yeah, I'm not sure how this works. I wonder if I just wiped it out. Try it. Yeah, I did. Great. Well, I've got a copy of the stack, so it's not a problem. Let's go to the menu again. There is one more animation that's in here that's kind of neat. So if you quit the stack, the butterfly comes out and lands, and then morphs back into the Novell symbol. So that's kind of neat. And then you're done. Let's watch it again. Oh, hit the record button. Okay. But, you know, consider the time when this was done. I don't think that a lot of the animation tools were out and were available. Yeah, the sound. Beep, 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 beep. And that's it. Let's see the code. All right. Let me grab the right mouse again. Oh, I don't want to exit. Okay, so this is the script for the field. So it's copyrighted 1988, the HyperMedia Group. On cue, plays back animation recorded in this field. So this text is tied to the field itself that's used for the animation. Allows adjustment for faster max, set by OpenStack. Okay, so there is a place where you could slow this down on a better Macintosh. So you set the cursor to none, get line 1 of me. So the way this is set up is the text box has enough, is sized correctly for one character to display. So you'd only have one character on that line. Set the local field butterfly to item 1 of 2 of it. So they must have set it equal to that list. It's a kind of a global variable you can use. It's used for function returns, or not function returns. It's used by some of the built-in routines to return a value. Put item 3 of it into field butterfly. So that is setting, item 3 was that third thing, which was the character. Show field butterfly. Repeat with my line equals 2 to the number of lines, so it's going through that text box. Get line, my line of me. If fast CPU, then true, then lock screen. Set the local of the butterfly, so it sets the location to item 1 to 2 of it. Put item 3 of the field butterfly, so it runs rest of sequence. Alright, so it just repeats through that to do the animation. If it's less than 30, or item 1 of it is greater than 480, then hide the butterfly. So they have a limit. Let's see what else we got here. On edit, toggles visibility of the field for editing, and then the recording routines. Follows the mouse drag to create action sequence of butterfly and records it. Oh, okay. Item parses the comma separated list. Yes. The default delimiter for lists is comma, and you can set it to something else. That for the adventure game, I use a vertical pipe as a delimiter because I want to be able to have people put commas in their text. So you have to set that global variable when you use it. There is string chunking functions built into HyperCard or HyperTalk that allow you to say get field 1 of the string of line X. So in a sense, it's got a built-in way of doing arrays or lists. You can also do things like get the third word of line 16. You can append text to the end or the beginning of something. You can replace a word, so you could say set word 3 of the text container to some other word. So it's actually got some, and it's also used for the searching. So it's got a pretty sophisticated string handling set of chunking expressions. Yes, Trina, take a nice nap. So there is a turbo button in HyperCard. Let's see what else we got here. So wait until the mouse is down. Drag initiates recording. Oh, okay. Oh, so let's give that a try. So I wasn't doing it correctly. So I want to edit. So that was the playback. Ew. Oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, they did some pretty clever stuff pretty quickly in HyperCard. considering the programming environments, especially the visual environments of the time, it's pretty impressive what they did. It's one of the reasons why I love HyperCard. Yeah, it is. The Bill Atkinson's vision for the whole thing was, aside from the hypertext kind of thing, was to really have a something that you could use for searching and as a database management system for information, and did a lot of work to bring all of the features of like Mac Paint into it, so it had a very graphical interface. So yeah, it was really an impressive feat for the time. Neat. So I wonder if this field is locked. It's not. So let's do this. Let's just edit this a little bit. I wonder if there are what other, this J, K, L, P, I don't know. We'll have to look at the font. Let's try that. So that font doesn't have any characters for in there for some of those letters. Okay, well, it's a font that's embedded in here, so let's do this. I believe I have the font editing tools on this computer. Yeah, that's what I was going to do next, was look at the font. So what we need to do is use ResEdit. And open the stack. So there's a font and a fond that's in here. I've forgotten how to navigate through this. So you can see they didn't take full use of all the characters in here. Okay, here's the sequence for the Novell logo. Yeah, I don't use ResEdit to do font editing. I actually use font editing tools, but I'm lazy. I didn't really prepare to dig into this. But you get the idea. It didn't take much for them to create this. And the nice thing is that they could do something that's fairly, it's a 127 point font. So it's not rocket science to do it. It's just tedious. So you can embed resources in your HyperCard stack and then refer to them. That way, I mean, at first in the early versions of HyperCard, they recommended you not include fonts and resources in your stack. They had trouble with stacks getting corrupted. So, but in later versions, they kind of backed off on that because so many people were doing it. How else are you going to distribute the font? Do you want to have someone install the font, or is it easier just to make it part of your stack? So they had this other font that they used. Okay, there's no data on that. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the font family, not the... Okay, so that's just a simple... Nothing much there. Anyway, but that's the basic idea, is that you just mess around with that. Let's see, do I have that on this computer? I haven't used this laptop in quite a while. Early version of Adventure. Yeah, I don't think I have it. Anyway, I was going to pull up the Neko stack, but I don't have it on here. Unless it's in demos. Nope, those are C demos. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Oh, nice to see you, Bill Goats. You know, I knew nothing about editing fonts, and what's the font tool? I wonder if that's on here that I used. There is, I think it's Vintage Mac repository for books. There's a PDF for one of the book for one of the applications. Fontastic. So this makes it easier to actually see and view the font. So and there is a book on how to use it. It took a while for me to figure it out because I know nothing about kerning and all that. So, I'm really impressed that Novell, or rather the ad agency they hired for this, had such a focus on visual design. Yeah, in this article that I have, I can read that section. It's an interview a couple of years later of where they talk about the HyperMedia Group, and they describe this. And I need my glasses. So, at the outset, the group wisely dedicated to focus on services rather than products based on HyperCard and later PC-based equivalents, such as HyperPad. Its first target market was presentations for computer vendors. After doing a few in-house projects for Apple, the partners, so I'd like to find those in-house projects for Apple. I might have actually seen some of those. The partners decided to take a chance and buy some space at the March 1988 HyperMedia Show, now Multimedia Expo in San Francisco. Novell Incorporated had come to the show specifically looking for someone who would build a catchy HyperCard stack for the rollout of its first Mac product, NetWare for the Macintosh. So somebody from Novell, I think, instead of an ad agency. It's hard to say. Oh, Kevin Millicam from Novell's Network Products Marketing Manager. Oh, then Novell's Network Product Marketing Manager. So it was their marketing manager that was looking. Said he picked the group to do the project because it was obvious they knew their stuff like no one else. 6 weeks later, the HyperMedia Group delivered a stack for the Macworld show in Boston that featured several firsts, including font animation and other candyware, items that tempt people to spend more time with the stack. Okay, the first hit's free, such as a glossary of networking terms and draggable screen objects. It was a revolutionary stack for its time, said Millicam. Other people were trying to do animation on HyperCard and other things that the HyperMedia Group delivered for us. The stack caused a stir at the show, and Apple's Jean-Louis Gassee, is that how you pronounce his name? Used it in his keynote speech. I'd love to see, I don't think there was a video of that keynote speech, but I'd love to see his keynote speech for that. Anyway, so they had some success. They did Hyperclips. It was a package of PC-based animation and sound clips for business. Let's see what else here. So this article is a few years later when there were other PC-based programs that came out. And it goes on to talk about some other things in here. Staying on the edge. So what advice does a gray-beard new media production house have to offer startups? The partners say it is wise to offer your services in as many fields as you can effectively handle. The HyperMedia Group's diversified experience in building marketing systems, boardroom presentations, information products, training, and performance systems. Okay, so this is back in a time when, yes, PowerPoint existed, but it was very crude. I don't know when version 1.0 came out, but it was for the Mac. The things that you had to do, you had desktop publishing and all that, but it took some skill to actually do that. It still takes skill to do it, but people are a lot more aware of and used to doing these things now. So, look at the stuff that we produce. Yeah, I know that somebody who's actually a professional like Javier would probably cringe, but, we do our best. Anyway, it goes on to talk about some of the other some of the other products that they developed, marketing things. So this would have been, HyperCard was used quite frequently as a kiosk type application for shows. So you could walk up and view the presentation. I imagine they probably handed out discs occasionally too, that kind of thing. Yeah, nice seeing you, Eric. I've got a couple of floppy disks, and I believe they were built off of HyperCard for Ford, where they demonstrate this year's models, and they would go through the presentation for that. So there were a couple of really cool things that happened. But again, this was a stack I've been looking for years, and Steve, Mac84, kind of helped me out with it because we were both looking for things, and his streams where he's been archiving things is where I found out about that promotional media CDs that were produced and handed out to Macintosh resellers. And I was digging through that year, and in that year came across presentation materials, and lo and behold, in fact, Steve and I were chatting at the time because he was trying to figure out something, and I'm like, oh my God, I found it. It's kind of like it's the first opportunity I've had to play this, so.
It chimed! Holy crap! It chimed! Did you hear?
So that was the kind of feeling that I had when I found it. A little bit anticlimactic when I first looked at it and went, oh, it's a butterfly and it's doing what they described, and there was nothing special about it, seemingly, until I started digging into the CD and I went, oh, that's the code that they used. And this is, so they made it a demonstration, not just for Novell, but also for the HyperMedia Group, so they could say, look, this is the kind of thing you could do. And they shared the source. So, cheers. I really think the HyperMedia Group, for as long as they existed, was a really cool company, and would have been neat to have gone to shows and seen their stuff or chatted with those guys. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I wanted to mention that I am on what is being called Global Talk. I do have a server set up for that. I don't have a printer connected right now, but if you're interested in setting up a Apple Talk over IP network, look in the Discords and stuff, and you'll find information about how to join. There's a healthy, I don't know, probably dozen or so people that are doing that right now, and we've been spending a lot of time playing around with chatting over Apple Talk over the internet, which is, as you can imagine, very slow and very, very, very tedious, but cool. I mean, who knew you could do that kind of thing? I have been developing some games, and I did a proof of concept game called Tic Tac for Two. That's kind of like a tic-tac-toe game, but it's got chat in it, so you can, challenge your opponent and talk smack at them and things like that. I've played it a couple of times over this Global Talk network, and it's slower than all get out. 1-bit Fever Dreams and I played for a few minutes before we just gave up, because the latency is just huge. But for a local talk network in your home or something, it could be fun. Still has some bugs to work out. Gut Bomb, I think, and his daughter played with it probably for 5 minutes or something. But, I just love exploring, pushing the limits of this kind of stuff, and so I'll plug the adventure game. So most of the code is done. Still working on a few elements to it, and I plan on releasing a box set. I did book a room for VCF Midwest. That's in September. It's at a new place, and the hotel filled up really quickly. I think they're going to try to get some more rooms on Monday. But if you have an opportunity to go to that, I'll be there. I don't know if I'm going to have a presentation this year. I did talk to them about it briefly, and they said, hey, we're still trying to figure everything out. We'll let you know. So, but I do intend, once they have tables available, grabbing a table this year. I'm only going to be there for for Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday morning, unfortunately, because I could only book 2 days. But a lot of people are going. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's a much bigger show. They outgrew the old place, so I really hope that if you have an opportunity to go to Midwest in Chicago, please do. I'd love to see you guys there. I'll be giving away, raffling off another classic Mac system. I've got a couple of SEs here, so I'm going to make sure I've got one that's all, gussied up and ready to go. Right, so, all right, that's it for tonight. I'm on the socials. You can see right here where I'm at on bitbang.social and, of course, YouTube. I also have a Patreon and Coffee. So if you care to support me for that, feel free to. Like and subscribe if you like it. And happy Marcintosh, everyone. I'll see you next Saturday. Where's the button? I did this new thing where you can control everything, and I still can't find the button even though it's sitting right in front of my face.